Hi guys, Bill again. Happy Bonfire night. It's November again, and it's a great time to take stock of our cultural attitudes. Now here in the UK, no one's banned us from burning effigies of privileged white males yet. Who'd have thought it, huh? All around the world, men and women are taking up the Australian tradition of growing a tash, bit like myself, or supporting those who can grow a tash, to try and raise awareness for men's issues and to generate some funding for men's health. And a collective reaction to that is usually quite telling. This year's been kind of interesting. I haven't been able to find a single derogatory comment about the Movember campaign. That's really unusual. The Metro took the piss a bit, but the main part of their story was pretty heavy, so maybe starting light was the right way to go. And there's a link to that article, it's quite interesting. Even better was the way that some very middle class institutions here in the UK have got fully on board. Classic FM, they're a true bastion of Middle England. They allowed Jane Jones to spend the evening exploring the wonderful music of famous mustachioed composers. It's great stuff. The PM got bloody annoyed at FIFA's decision to try and stop British footballers from wearing poppies during an international fixture this month. The poppy is a symbol of remembrance, so it's very comforting to know that Theresa May not only cares about the sacrifices that generations of men have made on her behalf, but that she cares enough to get bloody livid when someone tries to prevent those of us who want to publicly demonstrating and acknowledging that sacrifice. And it's quite easy to see why she's turning into such a popular leader. Things are a bit murkier north of the border. I'm afraid that here in the People's Republic of Jokistan we've decided to make November Pancreatic Cancer Month. There's nothing wrong with highlighting pancreatic cancer, but the timing's a bit off. They're lighting up public buildings in purple and they're jamming every left-wing media outlet with good news about how stuff. Like I say, the timing's a bit off, it's a bit suspect, and the idea of choosing a colour that's normally associated with lesbian and gay rights, which are very popular in Scotland at the moment, that's... I don't know, would that count as cultural appropriation? Maybe it's just me. Anyway, I don't have much material for the usual complaints about Movember, so it's all good, right? Not really. A wee while back I said that we only need to get about 1/10 of the population on our side to change public opinions, and I think we're almost there. I mean, once it used to be the default position for nice people to say that they were a feminist, because it's just about equality, right? But a huge number of us commenting and calling out feminist shite, it's had the desired effect. Now, recent polls on both sides of the Atlantic show us that feminism is about as popular as vomiting a gas mask these days. It's a really significant cultural shift, and I think it's mainly been brought about by numerous individuals coming forward and calling out the lies, the hypocrisy and the double standards that even moderate feminists are touting as absolute truth. Now, that was made possible by social media. Our greatest strength in this is being able to openly discuss important issues. Now, unfortunately, feminists are acutely aware of that, which is why they're constantly bitching and whining about words on the internet. Do you remember this? Saint Anita went to Google and the UN to complain about peeps being mean to her online. The fact that she's now worth about $250,000 thanks to her internet activities is irrelevant. The fact that her online activity is based on making accusations of malice and misogyny against one gender and one race, well, that's not a factor. The fact that she's a misandric harpy preaching to a willing choir that straight white males are irredeemable monsters, that's not even considered. See, someone said mean things about her, so everybody should have to do and say exactly what she wants. Now I know what you're thinking, and it may look like a bossy, spoiled child just having a hissy fit, but it's an act. She's an intersectional feminist. She knows that her agenda is going to be best served if she can control the public dialogue, because that'll allow her to effect changes to the major systems that are controlling Western thought processes. And from that, legislative and societal changes will follow. Now, if you don't mind the migraine that's going to follow inevitably from reading this shite, you can start and work we'll start with Kimberly Williams Crenshaw. Work forwards through there, through modern feminism, or you can work backwards through Western socialism and work your way back to orthodox Marxism, and then roll forward again through Trotsky's ideology and through the various adherents and followers of Trotsky that we've had since. Pay particular attention to the role that Trotsky had in mind for the proletariat, the vast number of ordinary workers. His point was that they were numerous and they ought to feel oppressed. Excuse me. So they needed to raise their collective consciousness to a level where they could agitate for a truly socialist restructuring of international society. It's almost indistinguishable from what used to be a radical feminist portrayal of all women everywhere being numerous, oppressed, and needing to raise their collective consciousness. The terminology is different, it changes over time, but the core concept is that there's a patriarchy standing in the way of true socialism or true feminism, or these days true social justice. Leopards don't change their spots. Now the problem we've got is that most companies that work in entertainment or that work in the media are staffed by graduates of an education system that's absolutely steeped in what we tend to think of as third wave feminism. It started with women's and then later gender studies. It's carried out by a faculty that are increasingly pandering to left-leaning policies and narratives, and most recently we've seen an influx of overindulged, kind of spoiled millennial students making up the bulk of degree holders. It's given us a crop of individuals who believe absolutely wholeheartedly in intersectionality. They identify as feminists and they seem to be blissfully unaware that they're the ones creating the problems that they're constantly bitching and whining about. You see, the sad fact is that no matter how friendly and trendy their notions might seem on the outside, if you go around destroying the nuclear family, if you collectively disempower the majority of Western males, while you're awarding unearned and undeserved rewards to the also-rans and the second best candidates, it's a recipe for disaster. Not only do they disrupt our society as a whole, they're leaving it vulnerable to hostile ideologies, such as the ideology which is genuinely misogynist which would like nothing better than to lead us away from our comfortable, familiar freedoms down towards a lifestyle that's devoted to submitting to barbaric religious practices. They don't care about that though. Sarkozy and et al. They're far too interested in restructuring our existing society. They're not going to consider the danger inherent in undermining its entire foundation. The theoretical ideological struggle, it might just bring down the West. But remember, kids, everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it out. That's what Anita tells me anyway. They're pissed. We won the first round. Feminism has been completely revealed. We shone a torch on those fucking cockroaches. They've been revealed as the toxic, misandric, bigoted, hateful ideologues that they are. Now they can't continue to fight on our terms. They'll just keep on losing, bigger and worse. So they're going to do what feminists always do. They're going to change the rules. Now, I have no idea if the UN will ever do anything about the internet. I mean, those fucking clowns. They couldn't find their own arse with a map and a torch, using both hands. But social media is something different. It's becoming decidedly frosty for alternative viewpoints. Do you know my content was once banned on Twitter without me even opening a Twitter account? Seriously. I thought it was kind of funny at the time, but the thing is, block bots and mean-spirited activists have just been massively empowered by Google, and specifically YouTube itself has undergone a radical series of changes. I don't care what anybody says. Demonetisation is censorship, pure and simple. Even the largest of YouTube channels are small-scale affairs. I mean, typically most are just the content creator, maybe a couple of assistants. It takes the best part of a day to create a fairly short video. Now, if your livelihood depends on advertising revenue, you just can't afford to make controversial videos. So there won't be many controversial videos coming from your channel anytime soon. It's not going to happen, it's not worth it. Most content creators aren't large though. You know, they're just people like you, people like me, maybe a few hundred or a few thousand subscribers. We don't actually make money from Google. So they need another way of policing us. That's where the Heroes program comes into things. The Twitterati, you know, those would-be internet activists, they're always spamming shite on everybody else's feed. You know, same guys who've got their own blocked to any kind of additional comments. Those guys are just a ticket. They've got a huge amount of free time. They've got the correct political outlook, and they're just dying to shut down the people. They've been showing the entire world what a bunch of imbecilic special snowflakes they are for years now. Google's got an army of censors. They're all just working for free. Brilliant. So what should we do about it? Well, there's a few things you can do. The first thing to do is carry on broadcasting here as long as you can. Try and refuse subtitles, at least until you get a strike. Remove tabs, moderate your language. I'm not doing very well on that score. Post links to your presence on alternative platforms. See, the thing is, whatever our social justice wieners care to think about, we live in a capitalist society. Businesses either make money or businesses close. Now, right now, Google is making a ton of cash on YouTube with a pretty minimal outlay. You know, what do they put into it? Some basic software tools, cheap servers, that sort of thing. There are other platforms out there who want and need our content. So do it for them. Get your content onto their platform. Simples. If you haven't heard of any of these, just go for the big names. If you like shitposting, try Candid. It's totally anonymous. It feels a lot like Twitter used to do. Dailymotion it's a decent, a valid YouTube competitor. Now, it didn't really take off. This though, this could be the making of it, if enough of us migrate over there. There's new kids on the block too. There's vid.me. It's new, it's not monetized yet. It's a YouTube equivalent, a bit like a streamlined variant or a streamlined version of YouTube. And right now they want our business. They're sympathetic to freedom of speech and alternative media concepts, you know, if politics rather than gender politics is your focus. Now, if we help build their popularity right at the start, that might become a core part of their operation. Just remember, most of YouTube's initial popularity, the thing that made YouTube what it is today, it was the way that they allowed us, you know, that broadcast yourself ethos that they had. You could create what you wanted, you know, YouTube would show it. If their platform, if YouTube starts to wither, platforms like vid.me, they're likely to take note of that. They're not likely to make the same mistakes, not if they want to stay in business. Minds.com. Minds.com's another new player, it's still in beta. It's early days, but it's really exciting. They offer a one-stop media experience. So you can get your videos on there, you can carry out social posting, very like Facebook. They've got a blogging part to their interface. They're really pro, well, I say they, their founder is very pro free speech. It's going to be monetized very shortly, within a couple of months, and they've got a bunch, what I like the best, is they've got a bunch of gaming features. You know, you can use boosts and such like. Kind of appeals to the geek in me, I don't know about yourself. The thing is, the more successful the alternatives become, and there's more than just the ones I've mentioned, the more successful alternatives become, the less draconian and the less Orwellian the established players will be able to be if they want to survive. Sad fact about socialism is, or the sad truth of socialism is, market forces has drowned it. They've drowned left-wing excesses for decades now. Now I reckon it's about time we start to use those same market forces for ourselves. Laters, guys.